We make the absolutely long trek to Marvel Stadium and get our sixth win in a row against a gallant St Kilda. Let's talk about it. So before we jump into it, you're probably thinking, Luke, why are you wearing a tie and like a suit? And I had a jacket that I took off. I was invited to be a guest speaker at the Woodsmen's Cotier Club, the Collingwood Club, and it was just absolutely just unbelievable. I was on stage for like 15 minutes, and I'll put the interview up in another separate video. But it was just an incredible experience. I got to go with Dad. So yeah, I was the guest speaker. So I just want to shout out, Mitch as the head of the junior committee for organising it. Andrew, Kim. I met Ruth. Scott, Chris, John, Jensen, and Vishes as well. Absolute pleasure meeting you, mate. I met so many people, and I'm sorry, if I missed you, but I just want to shout out everyone. Everyone was just so kind, and the club was nothing like what I expected, and it's just an absolutely incredible evening. So thank you. And after my guest, I was given this amazing bottle of red wine. You know I love a red wine. This one I'm not going to drink though. It is engraved with my name, the date, the guest speaker, the Cotier Club, the Woodsman logo. And apparently it's done by the guy that engraves the Australian Open trophy. So it was just one of the most magical experiences I've had in my life, really. Apart from grand finals and stuff, but it was just I'm lost for words. It was just absolutely phenomenal. So if you want to check him out, I'll put the link down below. It's the Woodsman Club. Just absolutely incredible people, and I felt like I was family. I felt like I've been there for 20, 30 years. I don't know how I would have been there for 30 years. I would have been two, but I felt like I was there for a long time. Amazing family vibe, community vibe. So again, to everyone that organised it and got me out there, and to you watching, because I know you guys watch, you all watch. So thank you so much. Thank you, just from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. But now let's get into this review. What a win. What a weird win, right? So you've heard me touting that it's been one game in 22 days. Last year when we came off the bye, we lost 4 games in a row. This year off the bye, I thought we were going to be pretty good, pretty well rested. One game in 22 days is a bit how's it going? So that's one game in 3 weeks, right? It's almost like you're playing, the last game of the round, then you got that bye for the finals, then you play a week of finals. It was just wild to think that that's how the fixture worked out, but that was how the fixture worked out. Now, in my preview of the game, I said, Collingwood should win by 40-something points or something like that. And I thought I thought we were going to win pretty comfortably. But to their credit, St Kilda were absolutely phenomenal. I do have a soft spot for the Saints. As you all know, my uncle supports the Saints. I've got some really awesome friends that are St Kilda supporters. Jake from Saints TV, Sammy, that you would have seen on Opposition Views as well. So to the Saints' credit, they came out firing, right? And I know, they were only in front for the first couple of minutes when they kicked that opening goal. But for the first 2.5 quarters at least, they were just keeping up with us, and they worked, not fully worked us out, but they worked us out enough that we weren't allowed to sort of get our game going properly. So we needed to break down their sort of their zones and their short kicks and their kick and mark sort of style, and they would slow the game right down so they could get everyone up forward and really go at our defense, which is the best defense in the league. So they did their homework. They really did their homework. Unfortunately, towards the end for them, they just sort of, they couldn't keep up with us. And then you see Collingwood just click into gear probably halfway through, probably not even halfway through, a little bit further into that third quarter. Then we go into the fourth quarter and we just storm home by 34. What's that, like nearly a 6-goal win? It didn't feel like a 6-goal win, I'll tell you that much. It felt like a 15-point win. Didn't feel like a 6-goal win, but we'll take it. And it's just another win where, I've said it a couple of times, it just felt like a bit of rope-a-dope where we told St Kilda, throw everything you can at us, right? Get yourselves just cooked, and then we'll switch up the gear, and then we'll go. And that's what I felt exactly happened. Like the same with the Kangaroos game, kind of the same with the Hawthorn game for a little bit as well. So again, I just like the way that Collingwood do this rope-a-dope or go a different gear. And the people that I was talking to, with the Woodsmen and watching, watching the games with them and stuff, I was talking to this guy named Lockie. I was saying that it felt, 2023 felt like we were just rolling through every single week, where we'd roll through with momentum and we'd win after the siren, then go in with that momentum into the next game, win by 3 points, go. This year it just feels like we are where we're meant to be. We're playing how we're meant to be. And the scariest thing for this competition, we're not even peaking yet. We are not even peaking yet. We're winning games. We're not even peaking yet. One of the biggest talking points going into this game was, of course, the hard tag on Nick Daicos. Ed Langdon tried to do it. Nick Daicos tagged Langdon effectively and kept him to 4 disposals or whatever it was. Windhager had the job on Nick Daicos. Nick Daicos had 9 score involvements, 5 clearances, 2 goal assists, 1 goal, 30 disposals. The tag didn't work, right? Like Craig McRae said, you tagged Bontempelli, Bulldogs still won by 70 points. So, you can do that. And at the end of the day, they probably tagged the wrong Daicos, because Josh Daicos was just providing that run and just providing, that width and that pace through the corridor. And he was just absolutely everywhere. It was a really good team performance. There were a couple of shaky things, and I do put that down to a bit of the bye rust. And, every sort of team experiences that. Well, I think every sort of team experiences that after a bye. So I'm not too worried. We'll go to Marvel next week. We'll play the Eagles. So I'm not too worried, right? But it was just a little bit of rust, and I did like how our defense held up. They were getting peppered a lot. It wasn't an all-round performance like we've seen in the last few weeks, but we did what we needed to do. You take those points and you run away with it. Now, I will do like a Swoop standout video like I usually do, but there's a couple of players that I want to just quickly give a shout out to. Obviously, Nick Daicos. Patrick Lipinski coming back into this team. We know that he's the second best player in the AFL from getting his disposals to a score. He showed why we need him today. I thought, Darcy Cameron, pay this guy whatever he wants, because he is just an absolute jet. I think he took about 5 or 6 intercept marks, and he's going to be a long way, a reason why we go deep into September, because we've got this guy who's able to kick goals, able to take defensive marks. He is just an absolute workhorse. One thing that I did like to see was, for weeks we've said, or Craig McRae has said, we need to protect Nick, right? We're not doing enough to protect Nick. I've put some players aside. We need to protect Nick. The cameras wouldn't have shown it, I don't think anyway. But especially in that first quarter, there were players going through Windhager. You want Brandon Maynard to do that, but there were players going through Windhager whenever they got the opportunity. The one guy that I saw going to Windhager the most when he could was Darcy Moore, our captain. Now, I know there's been a lot of conjecture. I've seen it in comments and stuff like that about Darcy Moore, like he should give up the captaincy, blah, blah, blah. Mate, Darcy Moore is just, look, he is absolutely incredible as not only a player, as a captain. Sure, he's not having his 2023 All-Australian sort of season, right? But he's doing what he needs to do as a captain and instructing his troops. The players voted him in. It wasn't just like someone off the board said, oh, yep, Darcy Moore should be captain. The players want him to be captain, and he is one of the best in the AFL. He's not like a Zach Merritt that'll captain and, try and win the game off his own boot and do things like that, or Patrick Cripps, or plays obviously a whole different role. But I was loving what I was seeing from Darcy Moore, and I loved what he said after the game about Nick Daicos as well. All in all, I thought this was just a great win, a win that we just needed to do what we had to do. And, the Kangaroos went to Perth a couple of weeks ago. They sold 2 games. They went to Perth, stayed there for 2 weeks. I think the boys are staying in the Docklands for 2 weeks, as we've got 2 back-to-back Marvel games. Next week's going to be really interesting against the Eagles. If you've watched my VFL preview, or you'll watch my VFL preview, I'll talk a little bit about who I think is going to come in and stuff like that. But I couldn't really fault this performance. Yes, there were things that we weren't doing super right, like our efficiency going forward. There were times where, we're just getting the ball going long, and Nick was one of those guys where about 3 or 4 times in that second quarter, he'd have the ball, kick it forward, and it'd get intercept marked by one of their defenders. And on the surface, you go, oh, that's no good, blah, blah, blah. But then you think that Nick Daicos had to break a hard tag, get the ball, keep running. He was cooked by the time he had to kick it. So I think that's just a little bit of buy rust from the team. But we're gelling well. Tim Membry as well, shout out, kicking 2 goals against his former side who delisted him. Like, nuts, right? Absolutely nuts to think about. But this team, I think we can go, I'm going to say it right now. I think we can go all the way. And if you're not confident, what the hell are you doing, right? But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, Single Shaka, I'll swoop you later.